I was talking to a former classmate of mine yesterday, and he had the sentiment that well, I was asking him about his life goals. He wanted to lose some weight at some point, and he wanted to quit vaping. He had quit smoking by vaping, but he's still vaping nowadays. And he says he doesn't regret it anymore because there was a silver lining. He says that with two risk factors, he's still obese, and as a former smoker, he gets to have the COVID-19 vaccine a little bit earlier than most of his peers. And as if that were some kind of advantage. I don't think it's really an advantage, but I'll get to that in a second. But I'm a little bit ashamed to say that he's not the only person I've known in my life to have a sentiment that the unhealthy get some kind of a social advantage, right? Almost like a welfare program that rewards being unhealthy, right? Actually, it's not even the first time he shared this sentiment. Many years ago, when he was working as a cashier at a store, he told me that he and his coworkers would go out to take a break to smoke, and people who didn't smoke didn't seem to have that quote-unquote privilege, right? He wasn't getting any sort of privilege, right? He was needing to go out in order to smoke, right? I would rather be networking with my coworkers at work, my healthy coworkers, that is, and networking with opportunities at the job site, but he obviously felt very differently. Now, I've often gotten the short end of the stick for trying to be healthy. So, when I was working on my PhD, I had to go to a conference in Taiwan. And there's a layover in Japan, Tokyo, Japan. And we were looking at flights, and I wanted to pick a flight that had a slightly longer layover because I want to avoid the body X-ray machines. And I didn't realize they didn't use them in Japan, but I wanted to have more time with security just in case I needed to avoid things or just to have less stress even, right? And also I have dietary restrictions, and getting something suitable on the plane is challenging. It's also hard to bring stuff onto the plane, especially when I go to a conference and I have a lot of stuff I want to pack. I love to have things that I can demonstrate, right? I love to make even art pieces that can help demonstrate the concepts of what I'm talking about at the conference. I think I showed them in some of my other videos. So I don't want to be taking up too much space with food. And so I want to make sure I have at least a 2-hour layover so I can deal with the security issues and I can get some food, right? And so I picked a plane ticket that was like $20 more just so that I could have enough time on the layover. And my PhD advisor is really upset about that. She said, I looked and there was a ticket that was, let's say it was like $1,050, and I chose one that was $1,070. And she said, I thought there was one that was $1,050. And I explained to her the situation with the layovers, and I even offered to pay the extra amount. And she's like, you don't have to pay for it, but, all that just so you could have something to eat. And so that's the sentiment she had, at least. Now, my classmate was a heavy smoker, and we would look at a conference that was, we were living in Rochester. The conference might have been in San Francisco. A lot of technology conferences are there. And he always needed a flight that went through a very specific airport that he could go to smoke. As if, I would fly to JFK and then take a flight directly to San Francisco. I mean, as if that's going to be too long for him to wait to smoke, right? Especially if you just take a red-eye flight, right? But he can't even handle that. And people were very understanding because smoking is an addiction, right? You see, I would rather be taking good care of my immune system so that I joked with my classmate. I said, this whole COVID-19 situation has been a blessing for me because I get to practice with my social anxiety problems when we were at 25%. And I actually got over COVID-19, and now I don't even need the vaccine. Well, I hope I don't, because I don't want it to be forced upon me. I'd much rather have that kind of welfare than the kind of welfare that says, well, you're so sick anyway. Here, go ahead and cut in front of the line, right?